Happy Friday to you. How are you doing? And thank you so much for making time for this is the day. It's Friday, the end of the week, and the reason as to why I'm very much grateful and how we like to call it right here on This Is the Day, Up Friday, Appreciation Friday, is that we have seen it through the week and we have made it and we are here and of course grateful to the Lord. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We're live on Family TV and also live on Family Radio where the music does the talking. The numbers to contact us from 0786 316 316. That is on WhatsApp, SMS line 20316, and on Facebook and Twitter, that is at Family Radio 316. And let us get talking. Well, today is the end of the week, and we just want to talk about what has been trending and making headlines throughout the week up to today. And in studio, I have Jimmy Bryan from Nexus IT and Marketing, who will help us just take us through what has been happening over the week, what you feel about it, and please remember that it is always a pleasure if you join this discussion through the SMS platform, through the WhatsApp platform, and let us know what you think about the things that are affecting us directly. Hi, Jimmy.
Hi, Sarah.
Leo uko smart, eh?
It's a Friday, I have a dinner date. The person we are going for with the dinner date is what we are still finding. In the next 30 minutes, my team will have worked on that.
Wow. By the Apple sina comment, by the way. Well, how was your week?
My week was tiring.
Yeah?
I think Kenya has been tiring during this week.
Oh, really?
Because of news that that has been coming through, all of them are someone who cares about the nation.
Yeah.
They've been tiring. So my week has been tiring.
I know.
Yes.
I know. And it's not only, even from the comments that we're getting, when we highlight these stories, people are saying, it's too much, you know?
Yeah.
But then it's our country and we must talk about this and find solutions. So let's talk about the issue that has been affecting a lot of people, and it's the talk of town majorly, the coronavirus, and as the scientists would want to call it, the COVID-19 virus. What's happening? You know, just the other day, nilisikia tu, a plane has been allowed to land, and then 239 people allowed into our country from China. And then right now again, wanatafutwa wakwe quarantined. What's happening to our country?
Actually, they've been left to self-quarantine. So actually that shows how irresponsible and how unable our nation is.
Yeah.
So maybe we didn't have a budget for quarantining after receiving them. So you are being told to just go to your place. Actually, just moments ago I was seeing someone who's being followed on the sides of Athi River because he's been self-quarantining since he arrived in the nation.
Yeah.
But that's just one out of the possible 239 people who came into the nation.
Yeah.
What about these 238 others? Who is following up on them to ensure that they are quarantined?
Yeah.
That when food is taken to them, food is put on the door, then someone moves back.
You
They're allowed to pick that food.
You know what I like about the update of that story is that right now the president ordered that all the 239 watafutwe, and then they are quarantined in a KDF facility somewhere. But do you think it's possible to actually trace all of them?
I think actually it came first from the High Court.
Yeah.
A ruling by Justice John Makau, which I think was very key. I hope this time round they give the justice system a listening ear. But then he said that they will be taken and then quarantined at a KDF facility. Yeah. Because now this is an issue of
national
security.
National security.
Yeah. So I like the nature of discourse that the judiciary is giving this. Because our executive system has become so politicized that they now do not reason, they reason with their stomach. So I think the justice is one place where we have sanity, and I'm glad that now the LSK came in with this case and the judiciary treated it as an urgent matter, and they made a ruling today that there is no other plane that should enter the nation, and they also said that these 239 people be traced, which I believe the government should be able to do that.
Yeah, sure.
And then I think some of them are also on transit. Not all of them are coming to Kenya.
Yeah.
Some of them are just coming to Kenya and leaving. So maybe I think there could be around 200 there that are in Kenya. Okay. But then I hope the government is going to be able to do that which is sane, to go and find them and take them to a facility and monitor them for 14 days. Because it was stupid, someone saying that they were checked in China and during their transit.
Exactly.
And you know that this thing takes 14 days as a gestation period.
Yeah.
So I hope that they find them and we find a way to control this. But then even when they're going there, they're going to use motor vehicles. All these facilities, they could infect them in case someone has it.
Yeah.
So I think in the first place, making that decision to allow the plane to enter Kenya was very insane.
Very, you know, and someone would say, and we had people who were saying that, you know, our brothers and sisters were told not to enter our country. And then now they are allowing foreigners to come into our country And they're not even treating that as an emergency. That's very unfortunate.
I think China has a way to be. China behaves like China. Most of the Chinese nationals and China, I think they're trying to do what I'd call second colonization. How they run their things,
Yeah.
and how they, because it's sane. Of course, maybe Kenya could be a small brother to China, but then we could get an outlook from US. Immediately this thing happened, Mr. Trump ensured that there is no plane
It was
that
completely
arrives
blocked, right?
or leaves, unless if it comes with US nationals, and then these US nationals who come to the US, they were to be quarantined
Yeah.
under the watch of the government. So this was a sane decision. But then now China has I think an upper hand in Kenya, so they can just do things the way they want, and that's why somewhere I saw something that actually I wrote it down, and someone was saying on Twitter that we are no longer asking for infrastructure, electricity, or employment from administration, but be serious with coronavirus. We need to enjoy poverty in good health. And this one, I was actually going
Wow,
through...
wow, that's a contradicting statement there. We need to enjoy poverty in good health. That's
so,
a Kenyan,
so I think
you know.
Kenyans have gotten to a situation where they're even tired
Yeah.
with how governance is happening. So they're just saying that, yes, we know that you want to do your things, do them, but then just allow us that luxury to enjoy our poverty, our situation, and how bad it is in good health, because we know how serious this disease is.
Yeah.
And we're really flirting with it. We're really joking with it.
Yeah, sure.
And we know how, especially when it comes to Africa, although I was seeing the union of nurses in Kenya through their chairman were giving a speech today, and they are saying that we are ready. But I don't think Kenya is ready to handle this thing in case it comes to Kenya. And we should treat it with the utmost carefulness.
All right. Talking of readiness, I'll look at that in a few minutes. But, you know, I read a comment somewhere, and I think it was in my friend's Facebook account, and she was saying that at the rate at which we are allowing Chinese people, and no offense to this, by the way, Chinese people to come into our country and right now control our economy. And there's also a photo of a Chinese guy who was inspecting grass somewhere along Uhuru Highway. I don't know whether you've seen it, but that photo and all these things combined to an extent of even allowing them, despite the fact that they might be bringing the disease. And the finishing line was actually that, could we be heading to a second colonization? And that's a serious question. You know, someone would just brush it off. But at the rate at which these people are taking over everything in Kenya, and even having the authority to, I don't want to say authority literally, but to come into a country without being blocked, could we be heading to a second colonization? Your take, Brian.
Actually, that's the most difficult question I've had this week.
Yeah.
But then I think that we are really weak when it comes to how we react to some nations. When we were reacting with Somalia at a time when we had an issue over some small piece of land, that of course we were saying that it had minerals. We were very hard on Somalia.
Yeah.
But then now, when China comes in, we really tend to lag behind, especially on how we react to different issues. Because at this time, now they're almost running everything in Kenya.
Yeah.
The other day, someone was late at work, and the Chinese
And they beat him up.
just modern slavery.
Yeah.
So really, because of issues of international relations, I won't like to say that we can be colonized, because I believe that we are an independent nation.
Yeah, we are.
We are an independent state, and we have a stable government in place. But I think that some things needs to be rechecked, because somewhere we're going wrong.
All right.
Yeah.
Somewhere we're going wrong. I like that. Well, continue sending in your questions and comments, what you feel about these topics that we are discussing today. And remember to join the discussion. 0786-316-316. That is on WhatsApp, SMS line 20316, and Facebook and Twitter. That is at Family Radio 316. I want us to look at the speech of the president today, Uhuru Kenyatta, who actually appointed Mutahi Kagwe as the CS for Health. And because of this crisis, and told him that sasa wewe uchape kazi. Let's listen to this, and then we'll talk about it in a few minutes.
And I expect you to use your full skill and knowledge to help us achieve this particular objective, while at the same time dealing and confronting with emerging challenges such as the coronavirus. And there is an executive order that I have signed today, which I expect you to begin implementing immediately, so that we can ensure that our Kenyans and our people generally are safe from this pending problem.
Well, this is clearly a problem that we need to be on the lookout for, if you ask me. And Someone texted me during the first hour of the show on radio, and they said that, you know what? It's very unfortunate that we did not take precautions, and right now we're trying to find solutions. And this is immediately after the president actually announced that the quarantine section in Bagathi Hospital needs to be completed in 7 days. And people are really frustrated about this. Why allow them into the country? And then right now that they are already here, look for them after exposing other Kenyans in the name of quarantining them. And then at the same time, now we want to rush things. I don't know what you feel about this, Jimmy, but someone would say this is clearly laxity when it comes to our leadership.
I think that our leadership has really had a big issue because most people really, I think, they work to impress. If you are an appointed minister, you really don't work to work. So even if you are professional, and the moment you get into that process, you become someone who works to impress.
Yeah.
Because I think that all the CSS, all the ministers, there are people who are sane, and they were able to say that this is something that cannot happen. Because the other day I was listening to the Chinese embassy saying that now they have resumed the flights
Yes,
of the
yes.
south. But then we know that one of the areas that these flights are coming from is Guangzhou, and this is a place that, of course, it has a lot of tourists. That's a place where there's a lot of tourists, but then it's also an area that is so much affected. By this virus.
Yeah.
So they were saying that they are resuming the flights in Kenya. So that was very sad from the embassy. Of course, I've heard them comment a couple of times. They just don't look into issues that at times affect Kenyans. And then the presidency, they're saying that they're now being tough on the issue.
Yeah.
But then they allowed these people to get into the nation. I want to believe that they knew that they were happening. And then it's very bad because even those people who are receiving these visitors, they could be at risk of being infected by this disease. The people who they were on transit with, because maybe some of them used public matatus.
Yeah.
They were with people in these vehicles. Even
What
if
about
they used
them?
cabs,
Yes.
that cab, when someone alerts someone again gets into it. Even if they used a family car, the moment someone alerts someone gets in, how are we protecting these people? Because in reality, the war that we are now already fighting is more than 239. There are people who've shared with these people toilets. There are people who've shared with these people vehicles.
The people who live with them.
There are people who live with them. There are people who've shaken their hands. There are people who've hugged them. So this thing has now taken a ripple effect. And then it's very unprofessional for us to still be talking about 239. It's grown past that. So in case it was there, it's already growing. But I think we can talk about it maybe after 14 days when the...
to only how it will
but then,
go.
of course, had
Right?
it been there, it has already really taken toll. Yes.
All right. So someone is texting in and saying many countries have announced the closure of their airspace and suspension of all their coming and outgoing flights to China. Why don't Kenya also do the same? And I would like to tell you, Raymond, that right now the High Court has actually suspended all the flights, But is it going to be implemented? That's the problem. Most of the time, our judicial system gives orders. Do we always follow the orders?
Actually, I was thinking about that, and I was saying that what we now have in the nation is a state where the judiciary has been killed, and the legislature has been watered down.
Yeah.
Then we've left the entire management of the nation to the executive, which most times reasons from the aspect of their stomach. So, you could find that the judiciary has really tried to be sane in a lot of issues. And this one same issue they've really addressed today.
Yeah.
Because LSK brought this issue and they were very quick in reacting to it. And so now what we are looking at is a situation where all these planes should not get into Kenya. But now what we can ask, is that going to happen?
That's the question.
Because
Is it going to happen?
We've seen a lot of places where the executive really defy orders from the judiciary. But then as a nation, as a state, we know that we have three arms of government. And none should be superior than the other. They should all work in common good for the Kenya. But then we know what has happened over time. But then let's hope for the first time we're going to see a sane executive headed by our president, and they're going to go the same way. We hope they won't be sneaking them again.
All right. And then, someone else would ask, just the other day, our children were, and we talked about this when we were starting the show, our brothers and sisters actually pleaded. And instead they sent money to them. Money that others would even say it's not enough. Yeah. It's kind of unfair. And I'm saying this after someone just texted in, and her name is Naomi. Naomi, thank you so much for tuning in. It's unfair that our children were discontinued. This is what she's saying. But I'm thinking, were not allowed to come into our country, and right now we allowed foreigners who might, quote unquote, might be having the virus. You know, it's very unfortunate.
Very
Sending the money and allowing...
That's very unfortunate. I think and that is actually going to shape
Yes.
the future of governance in Kenya, because we're looking at a situation where it's a fight between the holopoloi
Yes.
and the rich. Because in a situation, these students, they didn't have anything that the government could appreciate them for, so they chose to be left there. But then when the Chinese, who are now, most of the big businesses in Kenya are now run by Chinese,
Yeah.
especially in the construction industry.
Yes.
So now, because they have the financial muscles and they can do their will, they were allowed to get into Kenya. So now what we are asking is it a fight for common good, or is it a fight between the rich and the poor?
Okay.
But then another thing is that if this corona gets into Kenya, it's not going to go to my village somewhere very deep where they don't even see these people. These people cut deals in embassies, in some of these high levels. So it could affect anyone. Because this is not a war for the rich or the poor.
Yeah.
This is a war for everyone. Because these people are going to... They were at the airport. Very few poor people in the villages and slums go to the airport.
Yeah.
They're going to go to the embassies. They're going to go to top hotels. Very few people from those places go there. So it's not even a fight for the rich or the poor, but it should be a fight for sanity.
Okay.
Because even the president himself, God forbid, he could be one to interact with them.
Yeah,
so this is a
sure.
war not just for me, not for you, but he should also join Kenyans in fighting this, especially the Kenyans on Twitter. So I hope to see even himself joining them to say that that was wrong, because it's a fight for us all.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And then now, we already have the problem. And this is very unfortunate. We might be exposed. Okay, we are exposed because it's already Nigeria, And Nairobi was actually named today as the 6th cities in Africa that is very much at high risk of getting this coronavirus. And it's unfortunate. And someone would say, hey, Mimi, I'm running for my life. I know of a friend who said, hey, Mimi, natoka Nairobi for 14 days. At least I be away from Nairobi. But, if it's here, then we need to take precautions. We're having people who are talking about it, but really no one is showing Kenyans on how we can protect ourselves. The other day we saw a taxi driver wearing a mask, and it was talk of town. Wengine wakasema, hiyo ni madharau. Others would say, it's a good move, But I would support that, because it's high time we take precautions and not just talk about it and do nothing.
That's very true. I actually also saw that picture. But then I think maybe, and then I saw the comment by the former Prime Minister the other day that he was saying that the precautions have been taken into place and it's for the common good of Kenya.
Yeah.
So maybe they're also looking at it from the economic perspective, which is good. And then we also have to be sorry for China, because of the situation facing them, because really no one chooses to be sick.
Yeah, sure.
If tomorrow I find you sick and I can't come to say hi, Sarah, and we met more than 3 times, I say that no, I can't go there. I think that would be unfair to my Christian faith and to humanity, as someone who believes in humanity. So we have to be sorry for them, for their situation. And then we also have to be sorry because maybe this could affect our economic situation.
Yeah.
Because Kenya is China. Almost everything
Yeah.
is from China. So
Yes.
this could also affect our situation. But then I think this is almost in a situation like what would happen if you're in war. I think it is normal at times that processes can slow down. Does not mean that they stop. So I think in sanity, what we could be requesting or asking for is that can we slow down processes? Can we slow down issues? Can we observe and see if it's a safe ground?
Okay.
Because yes, I know that almost everything in Kenya comes from Guangzhou and China.
Yeah.
So to mean that if this is going to happen for the next couple of days, time, months or years, there's going to be quite a
We're
big
going to
economic
suffer.
disparity.
Yeah.
That's going to happen. But then I think what we are trying to say is that can we step back a bit and watch and see what's going to happen? Because if it was war today, if Kenya was fighting another nation, it's almost obvious that our airspaces could be closed.
Yeah.
If you had a business appointment somewhere,
You'd go.
You'd have to wait a bit.
Yeah.
If you had a marriage proposal to go and do somewhere, you'd have to wait a bit. So that could be an important issue to you. But then there's a time that we go for the common good of the nation.
Okay.
So I think that's what we're asking, Mr. President, that can we do something for the good of the nation?
All right.
Yes.
I like that. For the good of the nation. So someone is texting in and saying, it is very unfortunate that we are having this in our country. We just need to pray for our brothers and sisters. And also, as the guest said, we should pray for China. Because if it's healing, then we all need healing, you know. If if it's intervention, then we need intervention. Yeah, and I remember in one of the groups here in your prayer circle, which is a show that is coming on radio after this, then people are actually calling for prayers, you know, and just talking to people and saying, you know what, we need to pray for our country. There's the coronavirus, there's also the locusts invasion. We clearly need to pray for our country.
Very true.
All right, let's move on. Tuongele maneno ya Nairobi. Well, Governor Sonko has given up duties, you know, to the national government. You know, someone would say, it's for the good. But another person, and actually we had some of the members of parliament were saying, no, until now they were convinced by the president. But this is something that was overseen by the president himself, you know, and by even Eugene Omalo was there, and clearly everything looked like it was stipulated vizuri. Do you think that was a good move?
I think that in the 2010 constitution, one of the things that Kenya looked for, and a big quest we had, was a quest for devolution. So one of the biggest things we wanted was devolution.
Yeah.
How is it that the developed form of government can help reach someone who's at the lowest level in the nation?
Yes.
And we're looking at government of Kenya getting that devolution. But then now what Sonko is doing, literally this is Moses who's returning the Israelites to Pharaoh.
Really?
For lack of a better word, because we are coming from devolution and it's taking us back to the national government. And actually, when you looked at one thing that Kidero said, and he repeated when Sonko did what he did, he said that running Nairobi is not a joke. So in fact, he was admitting defeat. Then he told Sonko that. So Sonko again took the government and returned to the president. That's have been defeated.
This is delegated duties. Then you return it back to the person who gave it to you.
In short, you're saying that I'm defeated. It's like God gives you a blessing, then you go back, that God, I can't take it back. So I think one thing that Sonko did, he's really failed a lot of the Nairobians who voted for him.
Yeah.
The more than half people staying in Nairobi who voted for Sonko, they've been let down because they believed in Sonko and they knew that Sonko could run Nairobi and address their issues. But then now Sonko is saying that, yes, I was entrusted with this role, but I can't do it, so I'm taking it back.
Okay.
So Sonko has sold the Nairobians.
Sold?
He has sold us back.
Yes.
Because this is a journey that we are trying to look at devolution and how can devolution work. And Sonko is telling us that devolution cannot work in Nairobi. And I know it's a competitive advantage to Mr. President because they were looking at forming a metropolitan Nairobi where we have a situation where the national government
will take care of some dockets.
Actually, they wanted to run the
whole Nairobi County.
So that Nairobi does not at all go to election for the devolved as a county government. So instead, they form a committee to run the
county.
The county. So first, I'm disappointed with Nairobi, with Governor Sonko for selling us. Second, I am also disappointed with the president. We should have given devolution a try because now he's testing devolution. Third, I know that he's now doing a mini trial, a mock trial for what they wanted to do, the metropolitan. I hope it works better. And third, now Wamalwa is smiling because at one point he wanted to vie for the governor of Nairobi.
And then it didn't work.
He's now going to be a cool governor of Nairobi for the next 2 years. So I think he's the one who's really smiling out of this deal.
You know, someone would say if Governor Mike Sonko had a deputy, then we could not be here.
True.
So maybe he was also faulty.
From the word go, from the moment he vied, I knew the Governor Sonko was faulty.
You must.
I don't know about other Kenyans, but from the word go, that could be seen in him. Because when devolution started, we knew that governorship was just a position and people went for MCA and senators. Then later on in the second term, we were realizing that this governorship, it's a post that needs a professional, it's a post that needs someone who's been tried and tested. Then at one point, Nairobians, they brought someone in, Mr. Sonko. So from that, the word go, I knew there was a mess there. But then I hope the mess could at least last a bit long. You know, when you have water and unga, then you know this unga is not going to be enough here. But you do pray that this unga is going to be enough for this. It will be enough for this water that we may have ugali by the end of this. But then sadly enough, the Nairobians had water and they had unga. but then the hope was not answered. The prayer was not answered.
So they made uji.
So you have semi-uji ugali. We don't know how to call it. You may have to use
Semi-uji
spoons
ugali.
to consume it.
All right. We have someone is texting in. This is Fasters. Kenya has lost its sovereignty to China. We no longer have a say in our own internal affairs. Kenya is highly indebted to China. That is on the coronavirus issue. And then on the Mike Sonko debate, he says, it has showed us Kenyans that we need to subject our leaders to meritocracy. Merit. Yeah. We should prefer merit rather than populism. Eish, yo kizungu, my friend Festus. So we should not just elect someone because he's popular. Merit should count. Because, and I had someone say that it's okay. He was not fit for that position. But again, if you look back, we are the same Nairobians who voted him in. So merit, as Festus is saying, not just because he's popular, but he should have the power and the knowledge to lead.
I think in Kenya, if you are looking at meritocracy, then I believe that we want to be discussing the corona issue today in Kenya. So maybe it's a way that just from the presidency to everywhere, if you were to discuss issues merit, then I think either somewhere we lose it in the process. Maybe when someone gets into politics, there's a way that the sanity, in a small way, it leaves you. So because
really, but I think that's a choice if you ask me.
So maybe to be popular, you have to be insane.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm yet to research on that because surely Sonko. But he's tried. 2 years is not bad.
He tried.
He's tried.
He tried.
So he tried to last a bit.
Yeah.
But then I think in future we need serious people to do such jobs. So just that maybe it's hard to really evaluate issues that the mwananchi really counts when it comes to leadership. That's why at times we have to elect people who maybe may not have merit. Because if we are to compare Kisumu and Nairobi, in Kisumu we elected someone who would say that had merit. In Nairobi we elected someone who would say did not have merit. But then you'd still hear the people of Kisumu
still
complaining a lot,
yeah.
and you'd still hear the people of Nairobi still complaining a lot. So I think issue of leadership in Kenya and developing nations is quite a hard it's quite a hard issue to address, because I think you cannot be merited when you're not given a scorecard on what you should achieve. So I think that in underdeveloped nations there is no scorecard. And in scorecard we say that we want health, and what is the definition of health we want. Here we'd even say that health is when I am sick and you come to my home and people see you come with big cars and you take me to hospital. I literally that should not be. So I think that's now the issue. Maybe over time as we continue to grow we'll be able to now define these things, because it's hard to define merit when we don't really have a scorecard to check
and counter check.
What is because if we are talking merit, we have, let's compare Kisumu Governor Nyang'nyong'o and who is a professor, and then with the governor of Kisumu. Maybe it's Professor Kivuta who's really tried to define this out.
Job,
so
merit.
Maybe you can use him on issues merit.
Yes.
All
right, I like that. So continue sending in your questions and comments and join this discussion. And I have someone else who's texting in just before we go for a break. My name is Sarah. I like that discussion. On the issue of corona, you have really said an important point there, how to teach people on how to protect themselves, because maybe we already have the virus in our country. That is what we should be talking about right now. Well, thank you so much for texting in. And talking about what has been making headline throughout the week, a lot of responses have come in because of the issue of Governor Mike Sonko, and also the issue of coronavirus in our country and literally in the world. And I want us to talk about something else, Jimmy.
Yes.
What happened to KPLC? Why would they increase the number of unemployment in our country?
Through the MD, Mr. Bernard Kugi, they were saying that they laid out about 100 employees who they say were seriously colluding with other people in the industry to steal from them. So
Okay. I'm trying to understand this. So they laid them off because, for lack of a better word, they were cheating in the company.
Yes. So they were saying that there are people who they collude with the customers, let's say token, so that they sell for people tokens at a lower price. So let's say you want to buy a token for 1,000, and then instead of getting around 70 units, you can get 200 or 300. I don't know how it works. but then such a situation.
Yeah.
Then they're also talking about the illegal connections. So those were the major issues that they were talking about,
You
which
know,
were leading to losses. Actually, when you look at the financial statements of KPLC,
Yeah.
for the first time, they are really doing badly.
yeah, I hear since 2004, this is the lowest.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a very big number.
Yes.
Yeah. And then, you know, you talked about illegal connection and the issue of tokens. And I remember last year, there is actually a campaign that was going around in the country about the issue of tokens. Before now, the charges were removed. And you would buy token for, let's say, if you buy for 100 shillings, then you're supposed to get 10, right? That is according to the standard, what do we
Rates.
call it? Yeah, the standard rates. But you would have an instance where you're buying for 100 shillings and you get only 3. And Kenyans were really complaining, yeah? But at least this year it has been a bit subtle. Imepunguka kidogo kidogo. But you talked of illegal connection, and look at our slum areas. This is basically the root place, if I may say that. The major places where we're having so many illegal connections.
So I think that one on the issue of tokens is that at times KPLC has proved to be one of the most unreliable
Yeah, sure.
organization that Kenya has. So one of the reasons could be because of monopoly. I think it's time that Kenya, in a small way, should allow small players to get into the industry, so that power is a very essential issue for a nation.
Yeah.
And when we just allow one incompetent body
Leader
to be the one running it, it becomes a problem. Because I think in the heart of every Kenyan, if you had an opportunity to steal his electricity,
Then
99%
everyone
of Kenyans would.
Yes.
Because we do not even have that trust, we don't have that goodwill with this organization. But what if, actually I say that way because even one of the organizations being investigated right now is Safaricom Sacco. Safaricom largely is owned by the government. So even government is now stealing from the government. So because apart from the individuals, they also have corporates which they are monitoring.
Yeah.
But then I think one of the issues why they are doing this is because most organizations run on very high electric bills per month.
Yeah.
Because we do not have issues standardization, we do not have how to monitor losses of energy through the processes. You can find, let's say, a university running on a bill of about 3 million per month. But then this university is struggling to keep themselves running. So, you know, if we had alternative sources of energy, say solar, and we have an organization who comes to install solar, which is nearly free because you get it from the sun, we'd be solving these issues. But then they've really had bottleneck in the issue of energy, where very few players can get in and really solve Kenyan issues. What they've really looked at, which maybe will change over time, is the fact that how much can we make? But then they've not looked at even themselves having other organization venture into this thing to solve those needs, because people are stealing because it's hard for them to pay.
Yeah.
In slums jitahidi kutafuta pesa ya skuma au utalipa
Ama
stima
stima,
ya
you know.
500. Because it's very hard for a Kenyan. Some of us, we literally stay alone, but in a month you spend more than 500 on electricity bill. So families who are living, 7 of them
Yeah.
in the slum, do they have that 1,500 to spend on steamer per month?
All right.
So they're literally being forced. So I think the government should look at this more than just on who is stealing what,
All right.
but how can we make electricity cheap for every Kenyan?
Okay. I feel like there is a part where integrity comes in, where every person is supposed to just practice integrity. But again, when we look at now our economy right now, could this also be the reason as to why we have so many people being pushed to extremes of even doing illegal connections? Like these 100 people who are laid off because of being cheating. Let's use the word cheating again. Because of cheating. Could this also be as a result of the tough economic times in our country?
I think that's true, but then I'd like to look at it from the perspective of...
Yeah.
I'd like to look at it from the perspective of most of them are Kenya Power employees. And I believe that anyone who's at that level in Kenya Power is earning a decent money to live a decent level of life
Yes.
in the economy. But then I think that we've made stealing, as you call it, to be part of the culture of this nation. So every small opportunity someone has to steal, people want to steal. Of course, I do not know the level of truth in this stealing they are claiming. Yes, maybe there are stealings that are going on. I don't know much about that. But then I don't know which process they went through to confirm that these people were cheating, because this is going to affect the life of a child who's going to school in these families. This is going to affect how they live. So I hope that they are true. But then if they are true, then I think that most people who are at that level, it's not about tough economic times, because I think they are making a lot of money. Because at one point, the MD, Mr. Bernard, and the DC High, they were saying that these people, let's say they were colluding and selling tokens to a lot of Kenyans. So to mean that if you are supposed to pay token 5,000, you pay 2,000.
Yeah.
So to mean that if they were doing that with a lot of Kenyans, they were making a lot of money.
Yeah, that's true.
So if they were really doing that, then they made quite some
They
money.
made quite some money there, you know. But again, is this a solution to our problems, especially when we look at the electricity department? Is this a solution? Laying off these employees that we say are not working according to the standards of the company, is it a solution?
The solution really is bigger than just the Kenya Power itself, the organization itself. I think they should really look at this thing as a big thing, because someone who's producing should not, like, it should go into different processes.
Yeah.
But then I think the best way is really to embrace alternative forms of energy, and it must not go to, like, I think if I can produce electricity with bananas in my village, I should be able to just produce and consume.
Yeah.
It must not go to the national grid, because at times someone comes up with an innovation and then it comes with a lot of processes that someone just gets tired and gives up. Because I believe that there are a lot of Kenyans who are brilliant and they're able to come up with ideas to sort this issue up. But then the aspect of monopoly kills the issue of innovation, because there's only one person. Even if I do this, what will happen? So even the employees, at times some of them are rendered redundant. The moment you get there, you just put your coat and go and walk and come back and drink tea and take lunch and go, because your innovation won't be appreciated. So I think the moment we embrace competition in the market, especially area of energy, it's going to bring in innovation and competence in this field. Yes.
All right. There's someone who's texted in, Wangoi, who's saying, okay, sorry to say, but there's so much negativity in Kenya at the moment on social media. Okay, unasema... All right, I'm an optimist and I believe that something good can come out of this, and she just needs to hear something positive, And we were saying earlier, Kenyans are so much tired about the negativity. And then we have Steve Mbithi. And okay, Steve Mbithi, thank you so much, and your message has been received. We have someone else who's saying... Joe Sang, he's just thankful for the protection over his family and the gift of life. And he says sometimes we just need to focus on the good things that the Lord has given us. And this corona thing will just end. That's positivity, All right. So, let's talk of political, kidogo. The other day, the Deputy President, William Ruto, was in Nakuru, and he just said a statement. And that has been blown out to be something big. And he said that he may not vie for presidency in 2022. And the major reason he said this is that other leaders in the country are politicizing the BBI issue. And for that reason, it's causing a lot of division in the country. And for him, it's all about unity and peace. And that is why he uttered the statement, I may not vie for presidency in 2022. Well, from your perspective, Jimmy, do you think he may not vie?
From my perspective, I think the deputy president has mastered the art of war. And in the art of war, you make your enemy feel relaxed, you give your enemy time to celebrate, and you give your enemy that point of doubt that you won't attack. Then the moment that they are most comfortable is when you attack.
Yeah.
So I think the deputy president is the one who started the campaigns. Then now he realized that the other team found another better way to campaign. Then now when the campaigns were running parallel, he knew so well that they are not favoring him.
Yeah.
So he's falling back. In war, at times it's respectable to fall back, re-strategize and attack. So what our good deputy president did was to feign a moment of laxity and draw back and re-strategize, and he will attack again. So from my perspective, the deputy president will be in the ballot in 2022.
He will be in the ballot.
He will be there. He's
This
just
is just a
re-strategizing,
strategy.
he'll attack.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah. And he pointed out something very clearly, and for a moment there I was in support of what he was saying. The BBI rallies, they've been politicized so much, and it's no longer about the common mwananchi. It's no longer about me and you. And we get leaders who are saying, we are the owners of the seats, like how Atuoli said the other day, and he said, Izi viti ni zetu, during the rally in Narok. And he actually pointed out that some regions are not for some political leaders. So literally this is leading to the division of our country. Yes. And if you ask me, then I would say it's not literally achieving its goal. Literally, Saizi, if I was asked and it was up to me to decide whether they continue or not, then I would say they stop, because it's actually causing more division than unity. I don't know what you think about that.
I think, first of all, I think that, yes, it's true. Some politicians, of course, especially the Senator of Narok, what he uttered was very shameful. But then I think that in Kenya, the people who work hard the most are the politicians. Because a politician is a person who you've given them lunch, they've not even finished eating, they're already looking at supper. When you give them supper, before they even finish eating, a certain person would say that you should sleep, then wake up in the morning. But for a politician in Kenya, the moment you're eating supper, you're already looking at where will I get breakfast, and you're already seeing where you can snatch one or two. So I think preceding 2007 election, we had something of orange and banana.
Yes.
So literally in Kenya, you have to, for you to be relevant in the next election, the moment this one is done, you start hard working for the next. The moment you've just eaten supper, you start to be sure that you'll be in the breakfast table, you start fighting for breakfast. So I think that's what's happening, and it's not even meant for public good, but it's just meant to be relevant. You see how the deputy president started it almost immediately. Then now this other party now came, they found a better tool for the moment to now overtake him, and they now seem to look good on it. Maybe the next moment the other team again will get something. So it's just about, you get this food and then you now start
looking for the next
one as you fight people here and step on people here. So I don't think BBI, I don't think it's really meant to address, at the heart of it, it's not meant to address the issues of the nation. At the heart of it is meant to make the politicians to be relevant. You see how the Senator of Narok was struggling to say, to remain relevant. I believe that he was not saying those things from his heart, because he believes that, as someone who's learned, I know he knows that was stupid, but he's looking at how can I be relevant. So someone who is willing to go to that extent. Yesterday I had, when the governor for Madam Waiguru, she was saying that you cannot buy a Kikuyu, you can rent a Kikuyu, you can only rent a Kikuyu. In response to Uhuru and Ruto deal, where at the election point, Uhuru was saying that after I have this 10, I will support my deputy to have another 10. But then now
the game is changing.
She's coming to say that you cannot rent us, you can only buy us. But then those are not the things we want to hear as a nation. We want to hear issues of unity. We want to hear issues of trust. We want to hear issues of legitimacy. But then now everyone, I believe also that she was not saying that because she meant it, or because she was speaking on behalf of every Kikuyu, but she was saying that because she wants to be relevant. And even Raila, I believe that he knows that he can do better, especially in a position that we're now lacking in Kenya, but he's in BBI to ensure that he becomes relevant in 2022. So in Kenya, it's about you have food in the dinner table, you struggle for the breakfast. So that's what they're doing.
All right. Festus is saying the deputy president violated the first law of power. Don't outshine the master. Well, and he's also still typing, and we'll come back to see what he's saying, because that's really interesting. But I wanted to talk about something light, the locust invasion. And just the other time, there's a clip that was going around, and it was about our friends from the Western region who were saying, Zifiki, this is food for us. And they said when we were growing up, it was like the only meal that we knew. This is quote unquote what one of the ladies said. And I read a story today in Uganda where they're actually feasting on locusts, and it's nutritious, And then someone said again on social media, and quoting a Bible verse, there's a verse in the Bible actually that says that it's a command that you don't eat any other insects, but you can eat locusts, right? Yes. And I, please, someone, if you know the exact verse, because I know there is a verse in the Bible. I was actually going through that, and it said that the Bible commands that you're not supposed to eat some insects that stand on 4 feet, but the locusts. So ni sawa tukikula. Wewe, can you eat locusts? Ikipikwa tu vizuri, yani unaona kama mafuta kidogo, can you eat locusts?
Can I eat locusts? I try not to be extreme, so I won't say yes or no.
You're playing safe.
But then moments change. Moments change,
Yes.
especially in the journey of life. I also saw the other day my former boss, a place where I interned, Kuguru Foods. He was saying that Mr. Kuguru Foods, he was saying that in fact he wants to create employment by giving the Kenyan youth the authority to go out there and catch the locusts.
Yes.
Then he will be paying them at least, I don't know, 1,000 per day. Then he will use that one to make livestock feeds. He's a funny guy. I've known him from when I was interning at his place. And then people are also talking about food. At least on the issue of food, I don't know if they're eaten or not.
Yes.
But we've seen that they've really been sprayed. Just that they've been resistant. They've been sprayed with a lot of chemicals. And these chemicals could mutate into the bodies of people who are eating
Yeah,
them.
sure.
So in issue eating them, I won't go for eating or not eating, but I'd go at the effect of eating as at now.
Okay.
Because we've seen the government, although they've not achieved, but they've tried to really do a lot of spraying on them. And I believe that most of them have just mutated, and they could find their places on the tongues of these people who are eating them. So I think biologically it won't be healthy, because they would mutate into another thing again.
All right.
Even another coronavirus for Africa and for Kenya.
Okay.
So on issue eating, it's not healthy. It's not healthy.
Yeah.
So it's not about eating or not, but it's not healthy for
It's
now.
not healthy. So Festus actually texted me the exact verse, and maybe we should read this. All winged insects are unclean, 21, except that is Leviticus from that chapter 11 from verse 21. All winged insects are unclean, except for those that hope. You may eat locusts, crickets, and grasshoppers, but all other small things that have wings and also crawl must be considered unclean. This is from the Bible book of Leviticus chapter 11 from verse 21 to 23. But again, we just must be cautious,
You know, in Leviticus, this was at the time of when the Israelites were on their journey. And when Israelites were on their journey,
Yeah.
they were going through the desert. And I think the Bible was real for the moment, and even up to now.
Yeah.
But then in part of the reality of the Bible was the fact that in the desert there are locusts. Actually, there are a lot of locusts in the desert. The Bible could not talk about do not eat njahe when there's no njahe in the desert.
Yes.
So this is what was available there. And it was addressing even that moment. So those were the things that were available there. But over time, things have changed.
Yeah.
We have options now.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'll go with the point of being sprayed and having chemicals. Yeah, that I would go for. And we also have Saint Kifa, who's texted me the same verse. Asante sana for tuning in. We also have Zaweria, who's texted in, and thank you so much. You're saying your name is Hope. Hope is enjoying the show and very educative. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We also have someone else who's saying that is Roy Boys. Your WhatsApp name is Roy's Boys. Thank you so much for that information that you have shared with me. We also have Raymond, we have Jared, who are all texting me in the Bible verse and saying thank you for the good show. Well, wiki meisha. We're hopeful for the next week, and we pray and hope that it's going to be a good week, right?
Definitely.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming today and for helping us understand what has been happening throughout the week. Have yourself a beautiful evening.
Thank you so much.
Well, and thank you so much for tuning in to This Is The Day. My name is Sarah Otieno, and I will see you next week. Have yourself a lovely weekend, and please take care of yourself and say hi to your loved ones. From me and from everyone in Family Media, it's God bless and have a beautiful evening.